Wu Jin pressed his scaled hand against the cool metal of his ship's observation deck. The stars looked the same as always, but something felt different today. His ship, the Silent Wing, had been exploring this sector for 3 months. Most systems held nothing but empty space and dead rocks. This one was different. The third planet showed signs of life. Not just simple life, but intelligent life. Wu Jin had seen the metal objects moving in orbit around the blue-green world. They were crude compared to Federation technology, but they proved one important thing. Someone down there could build spaceships. "Computer, begin standard first contact scan," Wu Jin said in his deep, rumbling voice. His reptilian features remained calm, but inside he felt excited. Finding a new intelligent species was rare. Most of the galaxy had been mapped already. The scan results appeared on his screen. The beings called themselves humans. They lived on a planet they named Earth. Their technology was primitive but advancing quickly. They had only achieved faster than light travel in the last 5 years. Most species took centuries to make that leap. Wu Jin studied the data more carefully. These humans had something unusual about them. They had covered their entire planet with cities and machines. Most species kept large areas wild and natural. Humans seemed to change everything they touched. Their history files made interesting reading. Humans fought constantly, not just with other species, but with each other. Wars covered their entire recorded history. Some conflicts killed millions of their own kind. Yet somehow, they kept growing stronger and building better technology. "Strange," Wu Jin muttered. Most intelligent species learned to avoid large-scale conflict after developing nuclear weapons. Humans had those weapons for over 400 years and still fought wars. They just found ways to fight without destroying their whole planet. The Federation would want to know about this. Wu Jin sent a message to Federation Command. Within hours, he received new orders. He would make first contact following standard protocol. A diplomatic team would arrive in 1 week. 3 days later, Wu Jin detected an approaching ship. It was definitely human-made. The design looked wrong compared to proper Federation vessels. Instead of smooth, curved lines, it had sharp angles and heavy armor plating. Weapon ports covered its hull. This was not an exploration ship. It was a warship designed to look like an exploration ship. The human vessel sent a message in several languages. Wu Jin's computer translated it quickly. "Unknown ship. This is the Earth vessel New Soul. We come in peace seeking contact with other intelligent life. Please respond if you can understand this message." Wu Jin opened a communication channel. "This is Wu Jin of the Federation ship Silent Wing. Welcome to Galactic Civilization. I bring greetings from the Galactic Federation." The response came quickly. "This is Captain So Young of the New Soul. We are honored to meet you. May we approach for face-to-face contact?" "Yes, but slowly. Follow the course I am sending to your ship." The human ship moved closer. Wu Jin watched it carefully. Even while approaching peacefully, the vessel kept its weapons powered and ready. Its movements were precise and military. These humans did not trust easily. An hour later, Wu Jin met Captain So Young in his ship's main meeting room. She was smaller than he expected. Most humans seemed to be smaller than Federation species, but she carried herself like a warrior. Her dark eyes missed nothing as she looked around the room. "Your ship is beautiful," So Young said. "Our technology is still primitive compared to this." "You have done well for such a young spacefaring species," Wu Jin replied. "Most species take much longer to achieve faster-than-light travel." So Young smiled. "Humans are good at solving problems quickly, especially when we need to." They talked for several hours. Wu Jin explained the Federation and how it worked. 12 major species shared technology and maintained peace across hundreds of star systems. Trade and diplomacy solved most conflicts. War was rare and usually small-scale. So Young listened carefully. She asked many questions about Federation military capabilities, defensive systems, and weapons technology. She also asked about enemies and threats. For someone interested in peace, she focused heavily on warfare. "Are there hostile species outside the Federation?" So Young asked. Yes, but they are managed through diplomacy and defensive measures. The Krillian Empire occasionally raids our border systems, but nothing we cannot handle. What happens if diplomacy fails? We increase defensive patrols and economic pressure. Eventually, most conflicts resolve themselves. So Young looked confused. What if they refuse to stop attacking? What if they want to destroy you completely? That rarely happens. Most conflicts are about resources or territory. Compromise is usually possible. But what if it is not possible? What if they simply want you dead? Woojin paused. The question seemed to matter deeply to the human captain. I suppose we would fight until the cost became too high for both sides. Then we would find a way to coexist. So Young nodded, but her expression suggested she did not agree with this approach. 2 days later, the Federation diplomatic team arrived. Ambassador Mira led the group. She was experienced in first contact situations and spoke with calm authority. The negotiations went smoothly. Humans wanted Federation membership and access to advanced technology. The Federation wanted new trade partners and access to human territory. Both sides found the arrangement beneficial. But Woojin noticed something during the talks. Human representatives asked detailed questions about every piece of Federation technology. They wanted to know how weapons worked, how ships were built, how defensive systems operated. They showed special interest in manufacturing and production capabilities. Ambassador Mira seemed pleased with human eagerness to learn. Woojin felt less certain. These humans appeared to be preparing for something. But what? The final agreement gave humans junior membership in the Federation. They could establish colonies on approved worlds and trade with member species. In return, they would follow Federation laws and contribute to common defense. Captain So Young signed the documents with obvious satisfaction. This partnership will benefit both our peoples, she said formally. Then she added more quietly, and it will help us prepare for what is coming. What do you mean? Mira asked. Humans have learned that peace only lasts when you are strong enough to defend it. The galaxy is a dangerous place. We want to be ready for whatever comes. After the diplomatic team left, Woojin remained in the system to observe human activities. What he saw surprised him. Human ships arrived daily, bringing colonists and equipment. But they also brought military personnel and weapons. The humans built colonies that looked more like military bases. Every settlement had defensive walls, weapon emplacements, and underground bunkers. Woojin watched human engineers study Federation technology. They did not just copy it. They changed it, improved. It combined it with their own designs. A human named Taeho created a new type of ship engine that was 30% more efficient than standard Federation models. The humans also did something no other Federation species had ever done. They immediately began training their entire population for military service. Not just soldiers, but teachers, farmers, doctors, and children. Everyone learned basic combat skills and survival techniques. Why are you doing this? Woojin asked Taeho during one of their meetings. Because peace is not natural, Taeho replied simply. Peace exists only when good people are strong enough to protect it from bad people. We want to make sure we can protect our peace. But the Federation maintains peace without universal military training. The Federation has been lucky. You have not faced a real threat yet. When you do, you will understand why we prepare. Woojin found human behavior disturbing but fascinating. They approached everything with the same intensity. Human farmers worked longer hours and produced more food than needed. Human scientists researched problems that did not exist yet. Human manufacturers built tools and machines far beyond current requirements. It was as if humans expected disaster and wanted to be ready for anything. 3 months after first contact, Woojin received reports from other Federation worlds. Humans had requested permission to establish colonies near border systems. They wanted to settle in the most dangerous areas of Federation space. When asked why, human representatives gave the same answer. Someone needs to watch the borders. We volunteer for the job. Federation Command approved the requests. Having willing colonists for dangerous border worlds solved a long-standing problem. Most Federation species preferred safe, established systems. Wu Jin completed his final report on the humans. He tried to be fair and objective, but certain facts concerned him. Humans learned faster than any species he had ever encountered. They absorbed Federation technology and improved it within weeks. They asked questions that revealed deep understanding of complex military and political situations. Most disturbing, humans seemed to view conflict as inevitable. They prepared for war while speaking of peace. They built weapons while negotiating treaties. They trained for battles that might never come. Wu Jin sent his report to Federation Command and requested reassignment. He wanted to observe human colonies and see how they developed over time. His final log entry read, "Humans are, unlike any species the Federation has encountered. They possess remarkable into." 6 months had passed since first contact, and Wu Jin barely recognized the Federation border systems anymore. Human colonies had transformed empty worlds into bustling centers of activity, but these were not normal colonies. Wu Jin stood on the observation deck of Kepler Station, watching human ships move through space. Every vessel bristled with weapons. Even cargo ships carried enough firepower to fight a small war. This was not how peaceful species usually behaved. "Impressive. Are they not?" said a voice behind him. Wu Jin turned to see Dong Min, a Federation Council member who had come to inspect the human colonies. The elderly Zeylani diplomat looked troubled despite his polite words. "They work very hard," Wu Jin replied carefully, "but I wonder what they are working toward." "That is exactly what concerns me," Dong Min said quietly. "Every report from human territories mentions military buildup. They request weapons technology more than medical or agricultural advances." Through the station's windows, they watched a group of human ships practicing combat maneuvers. The formations were unlike anything in Federation tactical manuals. Human ships moved in patterns that seemed chaotic, but proved devastatingly effective. "In simulations, have you met their new military advisor?" Dongmin asked. "Hyun Woo?" "Yes, briefly. He has requested access to our defense archives." "And I suppose you granted it?" "Federation law requires sharing defensive knowledge with member species," Wu Jin said. But privately, he wondered if that law needed to change. A week later, Wu Jin attended a Federation Defense Corps meeting on the capital world. Human representatives were presenting new tactical proposals. Hyun Woo stood at the front of the room, displaying formation charts on a holographic projector. "Current Federation Fleet doctrine focuses on defensive positioning," Hyun Woo explained. "This works against raiders and small threats, but it has serious weaknesses against coordinated attacks." The human officer changed the display to show a new formation pattern. "This arrangement increases offensive capability by 34%, while maintaining defensive strength. It also allows rapid response to multiple threat vectors." Admiral Velkoth of the Drakmari fleet studied the charts carefully. "These formations require extensive training and precise coordination. Our crews may not adapt quickly enough." "Human crews have already mastered these techniques," Hyunwoo replied. "We can provide training support to Federation forces." Wu Jin watched the other Federation officers. Some looked interested, others appeared concerned. All of them recognized that human tactical thinking was far more advanced than expected. After the meeting, Wu Jin spoke privately with Admiral Velkoth. "What do you think of their proposals?" "Brilliant and terrifying," the Admiral replied without hesitation. "Those formations could revolutionize space combat, but they require a level of aggression that makes me uncomfortable." "Aggression?" "Look at the maneuvers again. Every formation assumes total commitment to battle. There are no provisions for retreat or negotiation. These tactics are designed to completely destroy enemy forces, not just defeat them." That evening, Wu Jin visited the human research facility on the station. Dr. Ji Hai led a team of scientists working on weapons development. The laboratory buzzed with activity as humans and Federation researchers collaborated on various projects. "We have made excellent progress," Ji Hai said as she showed Wu Jin around the facility. "Federation energy weapons are very advanced, but they lack certain capabilities." "What kind of capabilities?" penetration power, rate of fire, ammunition capacity. Federation weapons are designed to disable enemy ships. We are developing weapons that ensure enemies cannot fight back. Jihai led him to a testing chamber where a new weapon was being demonstrated. The device looked like a standard Federation plasma rifle, but with additional components that Wu Jin did not recognize. This combines Federation plasma technology with human kinetic systems, Jihai explained. The plasma bolt carries a dense metal core that penetrates shields and armor, much more effective than either system alone. More effective at what? At making sure targets stay down permanently. Wu Jin felt a chill at her casual tone. Federation. Weapons were designed to stop threats with minimal damage. This weapon was designed to kill as efficiently as possible. The next day brought disturbing news. Pirates had attacked a Federation convoy near the border systems. This was not unusual, but the response was, human patrol ships had been in the area when the attack occurred. Instead of following standard procedure, drive off the pirates and rescue survivors, the humans had done something different. They had hunted down every pirate ship and destroyed it completely. No prisoners, no survivors, no negotiations. They saved the convoy, reported Captain Yelmos, who had arrived after the battle. But their methods were extreme. Extreme how? Asked Commander Siltan during the debriefing. They converted mining equipment into weapons during the fight. Cargo haulers became missile platforms. Maintenance drones turned into guided bombs. I have never seen such improvisation. That sounds resourceful, Commander Siltan said. It was terrifying, Captain Yelmos replied. They turned every piece of equipment in the system into a weapon. The pirates never had a chance to surrender. The humans just kept shooting until nothing was left. Wu Jin reviewed the battle recordings. Later, what he saw confirmed Captain Yelmos's report. Human ships had indeed weaponized civilian equipment with frightening efficiency. More disturbing was how quickly they had done it. The attack had lasted only 6 minutes. In that time, humans had improvised new weapons, coordinated attacks across multiple ships, and completely destroyed a pirate force that should have been much stronger. But most disturbing was the humans' reaction after the battle. They were not shaken or traumatized by the violence. They seemed satisfied, even pleased. They discussed the fight the way other species might discuss a successful business meeting. We need to talk, Dongmin said when he visited Wu Jin the following week. They met in a secure conference room where they could speak privately. Dongmin looked more worried than before. I have been reviewing human activity reports, Dongmin began. Their behavior is becoming concerning. In what way? They are militarizing everything. Human colonies have built defensive systems that exceed Federation military bases. Their civilian ships carry weapons that outgun our patrol vessels. Even, their children learn military tactics in school. They say it is for self-defense. Against what? Federation space is peaceful. We have not had a major conflict in over a century. Wu Jin had wondered the same thing. Human preparations seemed excessive for the current threat level, unless they knew something the Federation did not. There is something else, Dongmin continued. Intelligence reports suggest the Krillian Empire has been more active lately. Border raids have increased. Our diplomatic contacts report unusual military movements. How much more active? Enough to concern our intelligence services, but not enough to justify human-level preparations. That afternoon, Wu Jin visited the human colony on Nexus Prime. The planet had been empty rock 6 months ago. Now it hosted a thriving settlement with over 50,000 residents. But this was no ordinary colony. Massive defensive walls surrounded every settlement. Weapon platforms protected the spaceports. Underground bunkers could shelter the entire population. The colony looked like a military fortress that happened to have civilians living in it. Wu Jin met with Taeho, who now managed the colony's industrial operations. The human engineer had expanded production far beyond normal colonial needs. You are manufacturing military equipment, Wu Jin observed as they toured the factories. We are manufacturing everything, Taeho corrected. Food, medicine, tools, vehicles, weapons, ships, computers, Everything a self-sufficient society needs. But why weapons? This is Federation space. It is safe. Taeho stopped walking and looked directly at Wu Jin. Is it? How do you know it is safe? The Federation has maintained peace for over a century. Peace maintained by what? Superior strength? Better diplomacy? Or just luck? The question made Wu Jin uncomfortable because he did not have a good answer. Humans have a saying, Taeho continued. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. The Federation hopes for peace. We prepare for war. But constant preparation for war can lead to war itself. No, Taeho said firmly. Weakness leads to war. Strength maintains peace. If you are strong enough, enemies will think twice before attacking. If you are weak, they will attack no matter how peaceful you are. That evening, Wu Jin recorded his observations in his personal log. Human integration into Federation society continues at remarkable speed. They have established functional colonies, contributed to defense systems, and shared technological improvements. By most measures, they are model Federation citizens. However, their approach to civilization remains fundamentally different from other Federation species. Where we seek balance and stability, humans seek dominance and security. Where we prepare for likely scenarios, humans prepare for everything possible. Most concerning is their apparent assumption that large-scale conflict is inevitable. They speak of peace while building for war. They smile and cooperate while preparing for battles that may never come. I begin to suspect that humans do not view peace as a natural state. They see it as a temporary condition that must be actively maintained. The attack came without warning at 0347 Federation Standard Time. Wu Jin was reviewing colony reports when every communication channel erupted with emergency signals. 17 Federation worlds reported simultaneous attacks by Krillian forces. Within minutes, that number rose to 23. This is impossible, Admiral Velkoth said during the emergency command meeting. The Krillians do not have enough ships for attacks on this scale. The attacks are coordinated, reported Intelligence Director Holven. Every strike hit our defensive positions at exactly the same time. They had detailed information about our deployments. Wu Jin watched the tactical displays with growing horror. Red symbols marking Krillian forces covered the holographic map. Federation defensive lines were collapsing across multiple sectors. What about casualties? Asked Admiral Velkoth. Unknown. We have lost contact with most of the attacked worlds. Lost contact? The Krillians are using some kind of biological weapon. Our people are not responding to communications. Captain, So Young entered the command center without waiting for permission. Her human features were grim as she studied the tactical situation. How bad is it? She asked directly. 17 worlds under attack, possibly more. We are organizing defensive responses according to standard protocols. So Young looked at the display for several seconds. Your standard protocols will fail. I beg your pardon, Admiral Velkoth said coldly. This is not a raid or a border dispute. This is a full-scale invasion designed to destroy the Federation completely. Your defensive strategies assume the enemy wants to capture territory. These attacks are designed to eliminate populations. What do you suggest? Immediate counterattack with maximum force. Hit their staging areas, supply lines, and homeworld simultaneously. Give them no time to consolidate their gains. We cannot attack civilian populations, protested Admiral Velkoth. They are not attacking your civilians. They are exterminating them. This is a war of extinction, not conquest. The argument was interrupted by new reports. Federation scout ships had reached the attacked worlds. What they found was worse than anyone had imagined. The Krillians had not captured the worlds. They had sterilized them. Biological weapons had killed every living thing larger than bacteria. Cities stood empty. Defensive installations were intact, but abandoned. Estimated casualties? Admiral Velkoth asked quietly. Complete. No survivors detected on any of the attacked worlds. The command center fell silent. 17 worlds, over 2 billion Federation citizens. Dead in less than 6 hours. Now will you listen? So Young asked. This is not a war for territory. This is genocide. They planned to kill every Federation citizen in the galaxy. Over the following days, the scope of the disaster became clear. Krillian forces had achieved complete surprise using new stealth technology and biological weapons. Traditional Federation defenses proved useless against weapons designed to kill populations rather than capture territory. Worse, the attacks continued. 3 more worlds fell each day as Krillian forces advanced toward the Federation core systems. Refugee ships fled toward the inner worlds, carrying stories of entire planets dying within hours. Federation forces tried to mount a defense, but their tactics were designed for conventional warfare. When they engaged Krillian ships, the enemy would retreat and strike defenseless worlds elsewhere. When Federation forces tried to protect civilian populations, Krillian forces would overwhelm defensive positions with superior numbers. "We need a new strategy," Admiral Velkoth admitted during a command meeting 2 weeks into the crisis. "We need a human strategy," So Young corrected. "Give me operational command of Federation forces." "That is impossible. You are not a Federation military officer." "I am now," So Young said, placing new authorization codes on the table. "Emergency promotion approved by the Federation Council. Admiral So Young, commanding officer of all Federation defensive operations." Admiral Velkoth stared at the codes in disbelief. "This is highly irregular." "This is desperate," So Young replied. "Your way of fighting is getting billions of people killed. Try our way." The change in tactics was immediate and shocking. Instead of defending fixed positions, human forces began attacking Krillian supply lines and staging areas. They ignored traditional rules of engagement and targeted anything that supported Krillian operations. When Krillian forces retreated to civilian areas for protection, human ships followed and attacked anyway. They showed no concern for collateral damage or non-combatant safety. "This is barbaric," protested Admiral Velkoth after reviewing battle reports. "This is effective," So Young replied coldly. "Krillian advances have stopped. Their casualty rates have increased by 400%. They are losing more ships than they can replace. But we are becoming like them. No, we are becoming stronger than them. There is a difference." Wu Jin watched the human approach to warfare with fascination and horror. Every human action seemed designed not just to defeat Krillian forces, but to make them regret ever starting the war. Human intelligence officer Kyung-soo had infiltrated Krillian communication networks and was broadcasting psychological warfare messages. The content was disturbing even by human standards. "Surrender now and we will give you quick deaths," the messages said. "Continue fighting and we will hunt you across the galaxy. We will find your homeworld. We will find your families. We will make sure nothing Krillian ever exists again." "Is this really necessary?" Wu Jin asked Kyung-soo. "Fear is a weapon," the human replied. "If they are afraid, they make mistakes. Mistakes get them killed faster. But the threats are not threats. They are promises. Humans do not make threats. We make statements of fact about what will happen to our enemies." Meanwhile, engineer Tai Ho had begun developing new weapons that made Federation leaders deeply uncomfortable. His latest creation was a virus that attacked Krillian biological systems specifically. "This weapon could kill every Krillian in the galaxy," Tai Ho explained during a demonstration. "That is exactly why we cannot use it," protested Federation Science Director Mulvek. "Why not? They are trying to kill every Federation citizen in the galaxy. Because genocide is wrong, regardless of who commits it." Taeho looked genuinely confused by this statement. "They started a genocide. We are finishing it. How is that wrong?" "Because we should be better than they are." "Better at what? Being dead?" The argument reflected a fundamental difference between human and Federation thinking. Federation species believed in proportional response and moral high ground. Humans believed in total victory and enemy elimination. Ground Forces Commander Min-ho had taken the human approach even further. His troops were systematically hunting down Krillian survivors on recaptured worlds. No prisoners were taken. No mercy was shown. "The enemy used biological weapons against civilians," Min-ho reported matter-of-factly. "Standard human response is complete elimination of enemy capability." What does that mean exactly? Admiral Velkoth asked. It means when we find Krillians, we kill them all. Soldiers, support staff, command personnel, intelligence officers. Everyone dies. What about surrenders? Krillians who surrender are given the opportunity to provide intelligence about remaining enemy forces. After interrogation, they are executed. This is not how civilized species conduct warfare. This is not civilized warfare, Minho replied. This is survival. The Krillians chose the rules when they started using biological weapons against civilians. We are simply playing by their rules better than they are. Wu Jin began to understand that humans approached war differently than any Federation species. Other species fought until the cost became too high, then sought negotiated peace. Humans fought until the enemy could never threaten them again. The difference became clear when Krillian forces attempted to negotiate a ceasefire. Their ambassador contacted Federation Command with a proposal for ending hostilities. The Krillian Empire offers to withdraw from Federation territory in exchange for recognition of our sovereignty over captured systems, the ambassador stated. Acceptable, Admiral Velkoth began to say. Unacceptable, So Young interrupted. Counter-proposal. Complete Krillian surrender and acceptance of Federation occupation of all Krillian territory. That is impossible. Our government would never agree. Then your government will be replaced by dead Krillians. You cannot be serious. Humans are always serious about war. We do not fight for territory or resources. We fight to ensure our enemies can never threaten us again. The only way to guarantee that is complete elimination of enemy capability. The Krillian ambassador looked shocked. You are talking about the destruction of our entire civilization. Yes, So Young replied simply. That is exactly what we are talking about. The negotiations ended without agreement. Krillian forces resumed their offensive but with visible desperation. They had expected Federation forces to accept a negotiated settlement. Instead, they faced an enemy that would accept only total victory. Human tactics became increasingly extreme as the war continued. They converted passenger ships into guided missiles. They trained civilian volunteers for suicide missions. They developed weapons that Federation scientists refused to build, but the tactics worked. Krillian advances stopped completely. Enemy casualties mounted to unsustainable levels. Intelligence reports indicated growing panic within Krillian leadership. They are wondering. 3 months into the war, the Federation was losing badly. Despite human tactical improvements, Krillian forces continued their advance toward core Federation worlds. Their biological weapons proved devastatingly effective against most Federation species. Entire star systems fell silent as populations died within hours of exposure. Wu Jin watched the strategic displays with growing despair. Red markers showing Krillian-controlled territory covered nearly half the Federation map. Refugee ships clogged space lanes as millions fled toward the inner systems. Current casualty estimates? Admiral Velkoth asked during the daily briefing. 43 billion Federation citizens confirmed dead, reported Intelligence Director Holven. Approximately 30 billion more missing and presumed dead. The numbers were too large to comprehend. In 4 months, the Krillians had killed more Federation citizens than had died in wars over the previous 1,000 years. At current rates of advance, they will reach the capital system within 6 weeks, continued Holven. Defensive preparations? In progress, but our defenses are designed for conventional attacks. Biological weapons bypass most of our protective systems. Admiral Velkoth looked older than his years. The weight of leading a losing war was crushing him slowly. What about evacuation plans? Where would we evacuate to? They are advancing on all fronts simultaneously. Captain So Young sat silently at the conference table, but Wu Jin could see the rage building behind her calm expression. Human forces had won every direct engagement with Krillian ships, but they could not be everywhere at once. After the briefing, Wu Jin found So Young in her private office. The human admiral was studying star charts and tactical reports with obsessive intensity. You have a plan, Wu Jin observed. I have several plans. The Federation Command will not approve any of them. What kind of plans? So Young activated a holographic display showing the galactic map. Krillian territory was highlighted in red, Federation space in blue. Option 1. Systematic sterilization of all Krillian worlds using enhanced biological weapons. Estimated timeline: 8 months. Estimated casualties every Krillian in the galaxy. That is genocide. That is self-defense. They started the genocide. We finish it. What is option 2? Targeted strikes against Krillian homeworld using planet-destroying weapons. Eliminate their leadership and production capabilities. Force. Immediate surrender. The Federation does not possess planet-destroying weapons. We do now. So Young changed the display to show technical specifications. Dr. Ji Hai completed development 3 days ago. We call them planet crackers. Wu Jin stared at the weapon specifications in horror. The devices were designed to destabilize planetary cores, causing complete destruction within hours. This is madness. You cannot destroy entire worlds. They destroyed 17 of our worlds in the first day. Why can we not destroy theirs? Because we are supposed to be better than they are. Better at what, being victims? Better at dying with dignity? So Young stood and moved to the window overlooking the shipyard. Human workers swarmed over vessels under construction. Every ship bristled with weapons that had not existed 6 months ago. Let me explain human philosophy to you, So Young said quietly. There is no moral high ground when your species faces extinction. There is only survival or death. Honor and dignity are luxuries for those who will live to enjoy them. But if you become like your enemies, what is the point of survival? We are not becoming like them. We are becoming stronger than them, strong enough to ensure they can never threaten anyone again. That evening, Wu Jin visited the human research facility. Dr. Ji Hai had expanded her weapons development program beyond anything the Federation had imagined possible. Show me the planet crackers, Wu Jin requested. Ji Hai led him to a secure laboratory where several devices waited for deployment. They looked deceptively simple, metal cylinders about the size of standard torpedoes. The principle is straightforward, Ji Hai explained. The device penetrates to the planetary core and releases a controlled fusion reaction. The reaction destabilizes the planet's gravitational balance, causing core collapse. How long does the process take? 4 to 6 hours. For complete planetary destruction, the surface becomes uninhabitable within minutes. And you have built how many of these? 47 so far. Production continues at a rate of 3 per day. Wu Jin felt sick. You could destroy every Krillian world in the galaxy. That is the idea. Why build weapons if you do not plan to use them effectively? Because some weapons are too terrible to use. Ji Hai looked genuinely confused. Too terrible for what? They are perfect for removing threats permanently. That is exactly what we need. Later that night, Wu Jin met with intelligence officer Kyung-soo in a secure briefing room. The human had been conducting covert operations deep in Krillian territory. I have located their homeworld, Kyung-soo reported. Full orbital scans, defensive positions, population centers. Everything needed for a complete strike. A strike with what? Planet crackers, biological weapons, orbital bombardment, whatever Admiral So Young decides to use. How many Krillians live on their homeworld? Approximately 14 billion. The number hit Wu Jin like a physical blow. You are talking about killing 14 billion intelligent beings. They killed 43 billion of us. We are being merciful by comparison. Merciful? We could kill all of them, every Krillian everywhere. Instead, we might let some colonies survive if they surrender immediately after we destroy the homeworld. Wu Jin realized that humans defined mercy very differently than other species. To humans, killing most of your enemies instead of all of them was a merciful act. The next morning brought devastating news. Krillian forces had broken through the defense line protecting the core systems. 3 more Federation worlds had fallen overnight. The capital system would be under attack within days. Emergency Federation Council meetings began immediately. Representatives from surviving species debated evacuation options and surrender terms. We must negotiate while we still have something to bargain with, argued Councillor Decknall of the hegemony. What do we have to bargain with? Asked Councillor Yilmon. They want us dead. You cannot negotiate with extinction. Perhaps we can offer territorial concessions, resource rights, anything to preserve our people. Admiral So Young entered the beer council chamber without permission. Her expression was grim and determined. The time for negotiation has ended, she announced. I am implementing Emergency Protocol 7. What is Emergency Protocol 7? Asked Council Speaker Holden. Total war authorization. All human forces are now free to use any weapons and tactics necessary to achieve complete victory. This Council has not authorized such extreme measures. This Council is irrelevant. Humans are assuming operational control of all Federation defensive operations. You may cooperate or evacuate. Those are your only choices. You cannot simply take control of the Federation military. We are not taking control. We are replacing it with something that actually works. The argument was interrupted by urgent communications from the outer defense perimeter. A massive Krillian fleet was approaching the capital system. Federation defenders were falling back in disorder. Estimated time until they reach the capital world? Admiral Velkoth asked. 18 hours at current approach speed. So Young activated her personal communicator. All human vessels implement Scenario Delta immediately. Authorization code. Humanity endures. What is Scenario Delta? Councillor Decknall demanded. Complete sterilization of Krillian territory. No survivors. No negotiations, no mercy. You cannot commit genocide without Federation authorization. We are not committing genocide. We are preventing it. The genocide began when they attacked us. We are ending it by ensuring they cannot continue. Across human-controlled space, the response was immediate. Planet cracker devices launched toward Krillian worlds. Human ships carrying biological weapons departed for enemy territory. Ground forces began systematic elimination of Krillian survivors on captured worlds. But the most shocking response came from human colonies throughout Federation space. Civilian populations volunteered en masse for suicide missions against Krillian forces. This is insane, Admiral Velkoth protested as he watched civilian ships being converted into guided weapons. You are using your own people as ammunition. We are using every resource available to ensure human survival, So Young replied calmly. If that requires individual sacrifice for species survival, humans make that sacrifice willingly. Wu Jin watched in horror as thousands of human volunteers lined up for missions with near-certain death rates. Worse, they seemed eager for the opportunity. They smiled and joked while preparing for suicide attacks. Why are they so willing to die? Wu Jin asked Taeho, who was coordinating the conversion of civilian vessels. Because death in battle is better than extinction in defeat, Taeho replied. If we lose this war, all humans die. If we win but some of us die in the process, humans survive. The choice is obvious. But surely some alternative exists. Yes. Complete elimination of the enemy threat. That is what we are working toward. As human forces implemented their extreme tactics, the war's character changed completely. Krillian. Advances slowed as their forces faced increasingly desperate human resistance. Every human position became a death trap. Every human ship became a potential weapon. The Krillian homeworld died at 1347 Federation Standard Time. Wu Jin watched the long-range sensors as Dr. Jihai's planet cracker completed its work. The world that had existed for billions of years simply stopped existing. 14 billion. Krillians died in less than 6 hours. Target eliminated, reported the scanning officer with clinical precision. No life signs detected. Planetary core has collapsed completely. Admiral So Young nodded with satisfaction. Broadcast the destruction footage to all remaining Krillian forces. Make sure they understand what happens to species that threaten humanity. Yes, Admiral. Wu Jin felt physically sick watching the recordings. An entire world had become debris, floating in space. Billions of intelligent beings had been reduced to cosmic dust. Yet the humans around him showed no emotion beyond professional satisfaction. How can you be so calm about this? Wu Jin asked So Young privately. Because it was necessary, she replied simply. The Krillians chose extinction when they began their genocide against Federation worlds. We simply gave them what they chose. But 14 billion people, 14 billion enemies who would have killed every human in the galaxy if given the chance. Would you prefer they had succeeded? Wu Jin had no answer. The logic was flawless and horrifying at the same time. The destruction of their homeworld broke Krillian resistance completely. Within hours, surrender offers arrived from every surviving Krillian colony and fleet. They begged for mercy, offered unconditional surrender, promised never to threaten anyone again. The human response was swift and final. All surrender offers rejected, So Young announced. Human forces will continue operations until no Krillian military capability remains anywhere in the galaxy. They are offering complete surrender, Admiral Velkoth protested. Traditional warfare ends with enemy surrender. Traditional warfare assumes enemies can be trusted to honor agreements. Krillians have proven they cannot be trusted. Therefore, they must be eliminated completely. You are talking about total genocide. I am talking about permanent problem resolution. Ground Commander Minho had already begun implementing the final phase. Human forces systematically hunted down every Krillian colony, outpost, and survivor throughout the galaxy. No prisoners were taken. No exceptions were made. Civilian populations? Admiral Velkoth asked during a briefing. No such thing, Minho replied. All Krillians supported the genocide against Federation worlds. All Krillians bear responsibility. All Krillians pay the price. What about children? They could not have participated in military decisions. Krillian children grow into Krillian adults. Krillian adults make war against peaceful species. Problem solved permanently by removing all Krillians. The systematic elimination continued for 3 months. Human forces moved through the galaxy, like a cleansing fire, finding and destroying every trace of Krillian existence. They hunted down hidden bases, refugee ships, and individual survivors with relentless efficiency. Tejo had developed specialized tracking equipment that could detect Krillian biological signatures across interstellar distances. No hiding place remained safe. No escape was possible. This exceeds even human standards of thoroughness, Wu Jin observed. Thoroughness is the key to permanent solutions, Tejo replied while calibrating his detection equipment. If you eliminate 99% of a problem, the remaining 1% will grow back stronger. Only 100% elimination guarantees safety. But surely some mercy is appropriate for non-combatants. Mercy is a luxury for species that can afford to let enemies survive. Humans cannot afford that luxury. Intelligence Officer Kyung-soo had taken the elimination project even further. He was systematically destroying all records of Krillian culture, history, and technology. Why erase their history? Wu Jin asked. They are already dead. Dead enemies can become inspiration for future enemies, Kyung-soo explained. Future species might study Krillian methods and try to improve upon them. Better to ensure no one ever learns how the Krillians nearly succeeded. So you are erasing an entire civilization from history? We are preventing future genocides by removing dangerous information from circulation. Dr. Ji-hai had begun the most disturbing phase of elimination. She was developing biological agents designed to break down Krillian genetic material at the molecular level. This will eliminate any possibility of Krillian revival through cloning or genetic reconstruction, she explained. Within 50 years, no trace of Krillian DNA will exist anywhere in the galaxy. That seems excessive. Excessive compared to what? They tried to eliminate all Federation DNA from the galaxy. We are simply being more successful at elimination than they were. The mathematical precision of human extermination efforts impressed and terrified Wu Jin. They approached genocide like an engineering project, identifying every component that needed removal and systematically eliminating each one. By the end of the 6th month, human forces had achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. They had completely eliminated an intelligent species from existence. No Krillians remained alive anywhere. No Krillian technology survived intact. No Krillian cultural artifacts endured. The Krillian Empire had been erased from the universe as if it had never existed. Mission complete, Minho reported to Admiral So-young. All Krillian military and civilian targets eliminated. No survivors detected. No genetic material recovered. Species extinction confirmed. Excellent. Begin Phase 2 operations. What is Phase 2? Admiral Velkoth asked with obvious dread. Preventive elimination of potential future threats, So-young replied calmly. What does that mean? Intelligence analysis has identified 17 species with capability and possible motivation for future attacks against Federation worlds. We will eliminate their threat potential before they can act. The conference room fell silent. Federation leaders stared at So-young in shock. You want to attack species that have not threatened us? Admiral Velkoth asked. We want to prevent future threats from developing, much more efficient than waiting for attacks and then responding. That is mass murder on an unprecedented scale. That is strategic planning for long-term security. Councillor Decknall found his voice. The Federation cannot support unprovoked attacks against peaceful species. The Federation can support whatever ensures Federation survival, So-young replied. Or humans can ensure Federation survival independently. Your choice. The threat was clear. Humans would continue their elimination projects with or without Federation approval. The only question was whether other Federation species would cooperate or become targets themselves. Over the following weeks, human forces began security operations against species they deemed potentially threatening. The targets were chosen based on technological capability, historical aggression, and strategic position relative to human territory. Each operation followed the same pattern. Demands for complete disarmament and human oversight of government. Refusal resulted in immediate military action. Acceptance resulted in gradual absorption into human-controlled space. This is conquest disguised as security, Admiral Velkoth protested. This is security implemented through conquest, So-young corrected. Much more honest than pretending. Threats will remain manageable without action. Wu Jin watched helplessly as human forces expanded across the galaxy. They encountered minimal resistance because most species had witnessed Krillian extinction and understood the consequences of opposing human will. Those who did resist were eliminated with the same ruthless efficiency shown against the Krillians. Human forces had perfected the art of species elimination. They could destroy entire civilizations within months, but most species chose surrender over extinction. They accepted human rule as the price of survival. Within 2 years, humans controlled, directly or indirectly, over 60% of the galaxy. They ruled through overwhelming force and the clear threat of complete elimination for any species that challenged their authority. Wu Jin found himself assigned as a human liaison officer, helping to manage the transition of former Federation worlds to human administration. It was not officially conquest, but the result was identical. Why are you doing this? Wu Jin asked So-young during one of their regular meetings. Because it is necessary, she replied with the same calm tone she had used to order genocide. The galaxy is a dangerous place filled with species capable of developing dangerous weapons. Human survival requires controlling those dangers before they mature into threats. But you have become the very threat you claim to prevent. No. We have become the solution to all threats. Much better for everyone. How is human domination better for other species? Because humans only eliminate species that threaten human interests. Other species might eliminate anyone for any reason. Human rule provides stability and predictability. At the cost of freedom. Freedom is another luxury for species that can afford it. Most species cannot afford freedom without inviting their own destruction. Wu Jin realized that humans genuinely believed they were providing a service to the galaxy. They saw themselves as protecting weaker species from their own poor judgment and the threats posed by other dangerous species. In his final log entry, Wu Jin wrote, "I have witnessed their fury, and I now understand a terrible truth about humanity. They do not fight wars the way other species do. They do not seek victory in the